Boxing Asylum listeners, here we are with our third interview with the man who can speak for Africa, Europe, Britain, the United States, Mr. Don Charles. Don Charles, how are you doing today? Great to have you back on.
I'm doing fine. Good to have you guys back.
Yeah, it's to get into some of the tougher stuff going on right now. It's been for the sport of boxing a very rough couple of months here. With the loss of your friend Dean Powell, Frankie Lil, a boxer, being killed in the ring. Now Magomed Abdusalamov just hanging on in ICU right now. So when you look as a trainer and you see all of this tragedy going on in the sport, where does this set your mind to, Don?
Well, obviously, I'm speechless with all these. They all seem to come at once. You know, you will go through long periods where there's no incidents, and then suddenly they all come at once. You know, it's not good, and it's not a good feel. Everybody in boxing, obviously, one thing, everybody might be fighting everybody. Where at times like these, people always unite, and it's a true gentleman's sport. And at times like this, it brings everybody together. To those who have left us and those who are hanging in there, we all pray that they pull through. I'm sure he will, because he's a fighter, once a fighter, always a fighter. And I believe he will pull through by the grace of God.
And something that happens around these times, and we reflect, is times when people might call a fighter a quitter. Even as much as Mike Alvarado in his recent fight with Ruslan Provodnikov. So do you think at the very least that as boxing fans, we should take into mind what happens with these tragedies and give fighters a break on what we might perceive as quitting?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I personally don't have that opinion of a boxer being called a quitter. No. The mere fact that you step through, anybody who has stepped through those ropes will tell you it takes great, great, great courage to step through those ropes in the first place, and also to prepare yourself every day you go in the gym, every time you go for your run, all the mental torture that one goes through, okay, knowing what you're preparing yourself for. Then you make your way to the venue, then you find yourself in the ring. It takes great courage to do that. So I will never, ever, me personally, label anybody who has stepped through those ropes a quitter. No, definitely.
And
Who is a cheap shot.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm going to throw this over to Andy Patterson. I know he's got a couple of questions for you, and I know I have quite a few more. Andy?
Hi, Don. I was watching an interview going back to, I think it was August actually. Just you were talking about some of your fighters. I don't know if you're still training them, but Romeo Valentino.
Yeah, that's correct. He boxes out of my gym. I co-train him with Spencer Oliver, and he's about to make his debut, professional debut.
Yeah.
In fact, the kid turned 18 yesterday. He was 18 years old. He came of age yesterday, so he's actually officially allowed to box as a professional now. So it was his 18th birthday yesterday, and this kid is. How many wonders of the world are there? Before I get it right, is it 7 or 9?
7.
7 wonders of the world, and I believe we're about to win the eighth in this kid, because he's. I've never seen anything like it. The kid is off the hook. He really is. I always tease him. I always have a joke, standing joke with him. I said, "You're not from this planet. You're from Jupiter. You must be," because he's just like I said. Every day I see this kid, he's like, he shows me a new trick. The kid's just like. He's something else. It really is. I'm excited about his future.
Just the other thing as well was about the upcoming prize fighter. I believe is it Ian Lewis, and is he? I believe you're still training him as well. Is he? Is it definitely he's confirmed on the card, or is he going to be first reserve?
I believe it's the first, coming in as a first reserve. In fact, he had a fight penciled in for. He had a fight date on the 30th of November at the London Copper Box, where Chisora is defending his European title. He was supposed to fight John McDermott for the English title. And in the past couple of days, John, I believe, has pulled that through injury. So that fight is no longer happening. But nevertheless, Ian Lewis, because he was already in training, he's been drafted in as a first reserve in the prize fighter competition. I've also got a chap who I'm actually currently training, he's Tom Little. I'm actually training him for this particular competition for the prize fighter, so he's in it as well.
I believe also, there's two brothers as well. There's JJ and Daly, is it Ojudere or something like that?
Ojudere, that's correct. I also trained them. Yeah, I got quite a large camp at the moment. Since I've been a professional coach, this is the most fighters I've had at one time. I've gone against what my initial principles of. As you know, I was only training Derek Chisora for the first 4 years of my coaching career. And I had little stints with Jozo Lushigan and Ashley Theopane. But I only had Derek really as my fighter. But now, through quite a few reasons, I get calls every day, fighters wanting me to take them on. And I'm a soft touch because initially I say no. Then when I see the sorrow in their eyes, then I sort of say, okay, I'll help you out, but on the conditions of X, Y, Z. And they're all talented people. I won't touch anybody unless I think they're going to do something. But like I said, I find myself like inundated at the moment. I find myself with loads of a bigger camp than I anticipated,
Yeah, and big demand. Just before we go into Del Boy, Don, I don't know if you watched Ringside tonight, but it's kind of sad watching a former great fighter than James Toney slurring his speech, and here he is in the UK getting prepared for the prize fighter. Now, considering what the British Board of Control have done in the past, they've been quite stringent on medical checks and fighters over a certain age. Do you believe he should still be fighting, and do you think he should be getting sanctioned to fight in the UK?
Well, the board do a tremendous job. I start off by pointing that out. The board have always done a tremendous job for British boxing. Probably the best board in the world is the British board. But nevertheless, you could question how these guys. I'm sure they've got a current medical certificate certifying them fit to fight, in the sense that all their brain scans and everything tests that you would go through to obtain a license are in order. So the board provided that's in position. Don't forget, those licenses weren't granted by the British board. They have to respect that the Americans have done their job. The American Boxing Board of Control have done their job in certifying that person and approving them fit to be able to compete. So we have to respect that. I think if it was left to the board, maybe these characters, ex-legends, would not be allowed to participate in fighting over here. So I think that's what the position that you'll find that the board's hands are tied, in the sense they're not the ones issuing these certificates out, provided they're intact, they're up to date, current, and you'll find that, the board won't really intervene because they will accept that the American board have done their job.
Yeah. Just going on to Derek's upcoming fight now. He is obviously fighting this Italian heavyweight. To be honest, I don't know much about, but I believe there's talk also about Maurice Wack. Can you give us a wee bit of background as to why that fight never happened, or is it confidential?
Look, really? This boxing, the boxing industry as it is, sometimes I get a bit disillusioned with the way things are. The modern day boxing, should I say, it's never the best fight and the best anymore. It's the business side of things seems to take over the actual boxing itself. I mean, this is probably the fourth opponent that's the name's been linked with Derek since winning the European title. these names keep coming up out the blue, and you just have to question where. I mean, no disrespect to Matteo Mondundo, is it? I've never heard of the guy. I'm sure he has never heard of me either. So, but I'm not a fighter. I'm a trainer. So, pardon me if I'm not putting the guy down by any means. Is that where are these characters? And I guarantee you, after Derek has beaten him, you won't hear of him again. They seem to appear, even not. This is just an example to do with us. Even when your likes of your Klitschko's and your top heavyweights or boxers in the world, they suddenly have this opponent nobody's ever heard of, and as soon as the contest is done and concluded, you don't hear of them again. So it's really strange. I certainly haven't heard of this chap. I've since then looked into him. Yep, he's unbeaten, 14-0, I believe. And I've done a little bit of background research like you do. Yeah, it's amazing how they leapfrog. I would say leapfrog other people who would otherwise be in the pecking order. I'm not a promoter. I'm not a matchmaker. So I don't know how it works. We just train and fight who's given to us to fight.
Well, that on the rumours, obviously, about Kubrat Pulev, has there been any talk in your neck of the woods about that fight happening soon, or do you think Pulev's just going to sit tight and have another tune-up fight before a possible fight with Vladimir Klitschko?
Like I said, I'm not a promoter, a matchmaker. That's their job. Yeah, I'm not being ignorant or anything. All I've ever done, obviously, I research an opponent that's been brought forward by the promoter. It's my duty to research that opponent, to see their weaknesses and their strengths. Again, Pulev is in a very good position. He beat Thompson, isn't it, Tony Thompson? And yeah. that was supposed to be for the eliminator for Vladimir's title. So really and truly, I'm not in a position to comment any further what happens next. All I know, our focus has to be on this character we have on the 30th, the Italian. We can't overlook him. He's a boxer. He's a man, a heavyweight with two hands. And we have to concentrate, beat him first, then whatever our promoter who we trust, Frank Warren, he knows what he's doing. He's done it for many years. He's very successful at getting people in position of contention. So we just wait to see what he says next. No matter who they bring to us, we're very confident. This version of Derek Chisora, to beat Derek at the moment, because his application, everything about him, has totally matured. Everything about him. So yes, I'm excited for the future prospects of Derek Chisora.
And Don, what weight are you expecting Derek to come into this fight? Basically where he was against Gerber, or do you think he'll have shed a few more?
We're not I don't want this to turn into where Derek is the emphasis is purely put on his weight. Yes, obviously it's good news for us, for me, for Derek, and the fans. They want to see a fitter and leaner Derek Chisora. I don't believe we won't go below the way he came in against Gerber, because Derek's not the tallest heavyweight in the world, yeah, and his build, his makeup, his physical makeup. I personally don't want to him go too light, because it could work the other way, where he gets pushed, being pushed around, So I don't see him coming in below that weight. So we're quite happy to stay at that, get strong at that weight. It's all very well losing weight and stuff. You got to get strong at that weight, So that's what we're working on, to not so much emphasis on seeing how low we can get him. We know what he should be, and we're targeting that weight. And it will reveal itself on the weigh-in day. But it's all about getting strong at the weight, And
do you think that the shape that Derek has been in recently, do you think that version of Derek Chisora gives Tyson Fury a totally different fight?
Of course, I'm going to be biased and sound biased, should I say, and say yes. I mean, look, it's something in the future that will answer itself. Should Tyson Fury prevail against David Haye, which I believe he will, should Tyson Fury go in the future, then inevitably, should we continue to win, then it's a rematch for us, because we got Derek Chisora, I've always maintained, should never have gotten into the ring on the day he fought Tyson Fury. Nevertheless, he got into that ring. I won't go into details. And yeah, things happen for reasons in this life. You know, it hurt very much. It hurt Derek Chisora's feelings, and it certainly hurt my feelings as a coach. And I've learned from the mistakes. Not the mistakes we made because it was a 12-round fight. Obviously there's technical errors that Derek made. He just didn't throw any punches, and he still gave Tyson Fury a run for his money. But a fit Derek Chisora, mentally, not just physically, a mentally fit and physical fit Derek Chisora, Tyson Fury will not exceed 6 rounds with Derek Chisora of today. Okay, he would not exceed 6 rounds with Derek Chisora of today. So it's a fight, a rematch that I pray to God that Tyson carries on to do well as he is a very improved fighter, Tyson Fury. Having said that, I'm a fan of his because I think he uses his height very well. Boxing intelligence is more than, he should get more credit for his boxing intelligence than what people give him. Yeah, and fighter, you know, he can mix it. He's versatile. He's not one-dimensional, and he uses his height very well. So, you know, I do rate the kid, and you know, after all, you know, I think is it 25? Is it 25?
Yeah, he's pretty young.
Yeah, we forget sometimes. Yeah, we forget sometimes how young this kid is because of his height. You know, we look at him as an older person. He's very young. So considering that, he's done remarkably well. And yeah, I can assure you, Derek is really looking forward to, should they meet somewhere down the line. You know, it's a rematch that's waiting to happen. Should both fighters continue to do as well as they're doing now, keep winning.
Have you had an opportunity to see his younger cousin Huey, who at the end of this year he's going to have 17 professional fights in his first year as a professional?
Yeah, that's remarkable, isn't it? And you know what? I actually prefer the style of his cousin Huey. Okay, I really like his style, and I think he would do very, very well. You know, listen, heavyweight boxing has never been this exciting since the likes of your Larry Holmes and that era. You know, I think we're about to witness another era where even there's a resurgence of American heavyweights coming through now. And if you don't mind me saying, your guys have actually started to fight one another. There was a period in the recent times where they were avoiding each other, where you was having all these unbeaten records, you know. And recently, I think they've run out of people to fight. They've had no choice but to start fighting one another. So, which is really nice to see.
Yeah, I will definitely concede to that, Don. We haven't been matching our heavyweights very well, but it's getting better, and it looks like they might be able to make a fight between Stavern and Wilder or Stavern and Areola. So that should be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, look, Stavern has already fought Areola and beat him, as you know. And I really rate that character. I think he's a dark horse in the sense that he just appeared, didn't he? He was under the radar. Then suddenly, you know, he's a heavyweight Mayweather, isn't he? That's how I will describe this guy. He's got everything. His defense is immaculate. You know, and his deliverance is also very, very good. You know, so I really rate this guy. I think he's going to do great things in the future. One to watch out for.
It's just a shame that he's been caught up in I think it's a contract dispute with Don King at the minute. So I don't know how long he's going to be on the shelf for, actually.
Oh dear.
It's a shame that anyone still gets caught up with Don King these days. His contracts never end well.
Yeah, my namesake, Mr. King. I mean, I respect the guy totally, but I wouldn't want to be the one caught up in a lawsuit wrangle with him. The man is Don King is Don King, isn't he? So that's all I can say really on that subject. Before I get a lawsuit from Don King.
Yeah. Don, just to touch on something, because we were talking about the Fury family earlier, and something I really respect about them is that they don't care about taking a loss. Peter was trying to match Huey with Tony Thompson for a while, and he said because he's not worried, he'll learn from a defeat. So taking
Yeah.
from that, do you think that the loss to David Hay could have actually been the best thing that happened to Derek because he seems fully rejuvenated since then and incredibly dedicated, looking great in the ring?
Right. The loss of David Ed, no, definitely not. It's not what I'm hurting. I was hurting from the Tyson Fury defeat. I'm in pain, in agony. I'm doubled over. If you could see me now, I'm grimacing in pain from the loss of David Hay as a coach. And Derek Chisora is a very proud man. Um, that loss was self-inflicted. Okay, from the David Hay loss. Yeah. When I look back at it, even Derek, we've spoken about it many a times since then. We were beaten prior to the actual night of the fight. There was a documentary, a short documentary it was called Beyond the Ropes. I gathered the courage to watch it back after literally I watched it about 4 months ago. Okay, after the fight happened over a year ago. So I managed to get the courage to watch that documentary leading up to the fight. And I'm a big man, and I'm not embarrassed to admit that after watching it, I watched it early hours of the morning on my own in my flat, and it brought tears to my eyes. I realized, damn, you guys lost the fight even before the night. Yeah, when I watched back all the Derek's antics, all the things he was saying, all the behavior, uncharacteristic behavior of Derek Chisora, he didn't take it serious enough. Okay, he really thought he could walk through David Hay. He was disrespecting David Hay in the sense he didn't take him serious. He really thought, I've never been knocked out. I'm just gonna walk through this guy. I'm gonna take whatever punches he's gonna give me, but when I give him mine, he's not going to be able to take it. That was not our game plan. Certainly was not. I had a game plan which I kept reminding my boy, but unfortunately, on the night, he kept that game plan up for 3 rounds. If you watch the fight for the first 3 rounds, and if you listen to my when we get the minute break, if you listen to my ringside advice, I was telling him, keep doing what you're doing, tuck up. We know David Hay is going to come up blasting, throwing power punches from round one, which he did, which was playing into our hands. Okay, that was working perfectly. Then from round four, Derek Chisora got frustrated, like I know he would. I knew David Hay would frustrate Derek Chisora with his movement. Yeah. Then Derek started opening his guard and swinging. Okay, he swung prematurely. Yeah, he since admitted it, Derek. We've watched the fight together. He got angry and started swinging, and David Hay was too fresh at the time, and he's an intelligent boxer, as we know. He knew that chance came, and he wasn't gonna let it go. You know, one thing he can do for sure, David Hay, he can punch, right? And yeah, Derek as a fighter underestimated David Hay's power.
And
That's what lost us.
go ahead, Andy.
I was just going to say, Don, we've got there's a member on our site who's actually in camp with the Furies, and there is a kind of concern going around that the Hay Fury fight may never happen. Would you probably share that opinion?
I think it will happen because I'll tell you why. There's something called the common denominator here is money. Okay. Don't forget, this is not a world. There's no belts on the line here, as far as I understand. Yeah, there's no world title certainly on the line. Yeah, very, very. It will be like one of these international belts on the line. Yeah, if they might bring a belt to throw into the equation. The reason I believe this fight will go ahead is because of money reasons. Yeah. Because where are they going to get another payday? David Hay, that is, and Tyson Fury. It's rumored. I'm not going to reveal. It's rumored that they're getting a lot of money for this fight. Yeah, and for that reason and that reason alone, Tyson will stay put and fight David Hay in February. I believe it will go ahead, unless suddenly the big titles become vacant and that's thrown into the equation. Listen. With boxing the way it is today, anything is possible because there's a lot of money involved in boxing, especially in heavyweight boxing. So nothing will surprise me. If it doesn't happen, it wouldn't surprise me. If it happens, no, I wouldn't be surprised because, like I said, there's a lot of money involved. They stand to make a lot of money by fighting each other. So I believe that's why it will happen.
Just to move on to a little bit of a different subject, what is your opinion at this point in time of Gennady Golovkin?
From the little I've seen of him, is one of the ones that I wouldn't want my fighters fighting a chap like that, because they're throwbacks.
I think that says it all.
They're throwbacks. They every now and again in every generation, these boxers do emerge. They're born with steel in their hands. There's nothing to do with boxing. It's just to do with their makeup, genetical makeup.
And do you ever run into those guys at the gym where you just know that they're a born puncher, but for some reason you can't get them to adapt to a technique to make them an effective boxer?
I have two in my gym right now. One of them is from Hungary. When you shake his hands alone, you know there's something about this guy. Just from a handshake, you just know they've got this inbuilt steel. Their character, their faces, they're just like I said, the only word, without being derogatory to them, they're throwbacks. If that's the only word I could describe these guys. They're how when man first appeared on this planet, that's how they were. That's how we were. But it's been bred out of us, and those chaps we're talking about here, Golovkin and Kovalev and the other chap, they've retained how man used to be.
Do you think that the age of great Russian boxers might just be starting, or do you think we might be reaching the end because you're getting to the point where a lot of these kids won't be touched by those old Soviet sports schools?
It's kind of, I think they're coming through now. I think they're coming through rather than the end. I don't believe it's the end of it. I think they're coming through. The promoters are now engaging with them, and they're migrating in the sense that because before they would only stay in their countries, now they're traveling. They're migrating to America. Some of them are venturing into here, to UK. So no, I think it's the beginning of a good thing. I think that I think with their inclusion, I think it makes the sport, so it's not always what the norm, what we're used to.
I just think it's incredible that the majority of them seem to all be punchers, going back to Kostya Tszyu.
Yeah, like I said, these guys genetically, it's not something you can teach someone in a gym. There's only so much technique you can show somebody, but their physical makeup and their genetical makeup takes over, and it's a plus. So I hope I can inherit one of these guys one of these days, walks through my gym. I do believe I've got two of them right now, but they've got quite a way to go before they can. And don't forget the obstacle when you get, let's say, for instance, I've got this Hungarian chap in my gym right now. He spars with all my guys, all different weights. He's not phased at all. Yeah. In fact, he waits ringside, waiting with his bandages on, waiting to spar anybody. Yeah. He doesn't speak very much English. All he says is yes. So, it's remarkable. Yeah. And, but the problem is when it comes to now promoting them, they can't sell a ticket because they're not based here. They don't have a crowd. And what promoter would either use them as what we know as a journeyman? Yeah. Which they're better than that. It's really, I do feel sorry for these guys, because like I said, unless somebody goes and puts money into them to promote them as the home fighter, they're always going to come up short because they're not being promoted. Yeah. As we know, a promoter, I'm not knocking promoters. It's a business. They have to make money, bums on seats. So, if you don't sell tickets or nobody knows who you are, you're a hard sell. You're a hard sell. So these guys, a lot of them, we won't get to see them to their full potential because they're not going to get the promotion that they need to bring them to the forefront.
Don, just talking about the Eastern European fighters, I mean, there's the World Championships a couple of weeks back. There were 5 Kazakhstani gold medalists, and just recently we've had Vasily Lomachenko have his professional debut. Did you get a chance to catch that fight?
No, I didn't actually. No,
I was just wondering.
My time, I spent because of the nature of my what I do. I spend very little time. I don't watch anything. I know it sounds ignorant. The hours that I do, from the gym to my bedroom to my gym, The only fights I watch, if people are talking about a particular fight, then yes, I'll get it taped and watch it. Or the fights that were involved. I'm very in the way I operate. I'm very tunnel vision. It might appear ignorant. It's just I'm so concentrated and tuned into what I'm doing, because you could spend so much time watching what other people are doing and you miss what you're trying to do. So I'm very sometimes it's a bit of a thing, because when you're asking me some questions about general boxing, you'll find that my knowledge on it won't, because I really don't know, and that's the truth. I really don't know.
You're probably more suited to the heavyweight division, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, just on that, I mean,
Did you
get a chance to watch Vladimir Klitschko against Povetkin a few weeks back?
I had it taped, and I did see that. And again, you know me, I never shy to say how I see it, and never shy to say what's on my mind.
It was poor.
Is in the terms of Povetkin, he fought his heart out. He gave his best shot, but the fouling that was going on is what I was alarmed by. Yeah, the fouling, and the referee. I think he managed to take 1 point of round about. I think it was round 6 or 7. He decided to take a point of. Really and truly, yeah, Vladimir should have been thrown out of that ring. Should have been disqualified. The tactics he was using was really disgusting. I'm surprised he was allowed to get away with it. I'll be honest with you, it's not good for boxing. But my heart goes out to Povetkin. He's a true warrior because he fought his heart out. But unfortunately, when you're being fouled like that, you don't really get. I'm not making excuses for him. Yeah, Vladimir did. He's just a very powerful individual, and they know how to use their size. But it would be fair if it's been officiated properly, where the other chap is given a fair chance. You've been fouled, you've been grabbed and thrown to the floor and wrestled to the floor. That's not boxing. I'm sorry. So
there's kind of a concern with the reffing that's going on in Russia, because you have that performance from Luis Pavone, and then a few months prior you had Stanley Christodoulou let the Lebedev-Jones fight go way too long.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Look, like I said, it's something, in football, in any competitive sport, tennis, any sport, it's been governed better than, I think, the referees are not being pulled up to answer for their actions enough, as far as I'm concerned. Referees, do they get demoted if they get do a bad job? I don't know. You never hear of a referee being demoted or sent to a second division or third division for punishment, because they get away with a lot, because there's millions and millions of people watching, boxing fans watching these fights. People pay money to watch these fights. Yeah, and I think it's not good for the sport if people keep witnessing these things happening in the ring and nothing seems to be done about them. The referee always gets off scotch-free. Yeah, I'd like to know that they've got a system. There's a governing body that is in charge of these referees or judges. I can go as far as some of the judging that's going on around the world, with regards to fights. You wonder sometimes what fight was that judge watching, some of the scoring, it's something, an area we should really look at, because you've got two guys in that ring fighting for their lives, literally fighting for their lives. And you've got, people who are like officiating and they're not really doing their job correctly. And I think we should really, as a boxing family, the whole boxing fraternity, look at this closely and do something about it.
Just on the topic of the referees, Don, you're talking about, for instance, if they ever get demoted. There was one fight, Agbeko against Mares. I remember Russell Moura, who he did allow a lot of low blows go in that fight. I think he ended up having to referee a few local level fights. But then, as Matty was just saying there, that fight between Lebedev and Jones, I believe the referee actually came out and says he actually feared for his life in that fight, because he says if he stopped that fight too early, he believed maybe some Russian gangsters could have got involved, and maybe some dodgy arts could have got involved there, really.
I excuse that particular referee then, because I wouldn't want to be the one officiating where you're thinking that your life is in danger. So I do pardon and excuse that particular referee if you felt under pressure. But what world are we living in then? If that's the case, where the referee is afraid of his decision, his decision is influenced, then that fight should never be held there. I'm sorry. In the future, somebody has to be punished.
Well, and for me, it's a little bit with Christodoulou, though. It's a bit of a boy who cried wolf situation because he's been on some other weird things. The Austin Trout-Canelo Alvarez fight this year, he didn't give Austin Trout a round until after the 8th. In a fight that many people scored for Austin Trout, actually a majority.
Not sure. I don't believe I saw that fight, so I couldn't really comment any further. If I didn't say, if I saw it, then obviously you're telling me that the refereeing was biased, yeah?
I think what's happening is they're ignoring a line of corruption, or at least a line of poor judgment. I mean, at some point, you have to call a spade, and he just... And it consistently, he's on the wrong end of these controversial fights.
Yeah. Do you know, talking on referees, there was a fight. As I speak to you, I'm trying to recollect which fight it was a couple of weeks ago, where the referee at the end of the fight, he was embracing the winner.
Steve Smoger, I think it was.
That's the one, exactly. It was hugging Hopkins. I thought, wait a minute, this guy's purely a fan of Hopkins, yeah? He didn't even hide the fact that his delight, did you see it?
Did, yes. He was actually I think it was because Murat was using the head a wee bit more. After the fight finished, he actually pushed Murat away into the corner with his face.
That's right. I thought it was really bizarre. It was really bizarre. I've never seen that type of refereeing, where it was pure. And I think also when Ricky Hatton fought Mayweather, the refereeing that you could still purely. I'm a Mayweather fan, but not to the degree of that particular referee.
Cortez.
Yeah. He was like literally everything, and it's been reported since then. He wanted autographs from these guys. Look, I suppose they're human beings. They're fans of. But it must be a very hard thing to do. You're a fan of a fighter, then you get into the ring to referee against another. Then obviously your definite decisions will be biased. Would it not? Of course it will. You don't have a referee who supports Man United or Arsenal refereeing a game between United and obviously they're going to sway. They're human beings. It will definitely sway them towards their favored team. I'm sure it's the same with the fighting thing.
I never forgave Joe Cortez for the Ricky Hatton fight. It was a close fight through 6 rounds.
Yeah.
They
kept breaking them up, and I'm not saying that Ricky would have gone ahead to be successful by any means, no, because Mayweather is just in a league of his own. He really is. But I'm just generally talking about the refereeing of it, the part the referees play.
Well, I would go as far as to say that I think that Hatton would have finished that fight on his feet, and I think it would have kept him from hitting that depression that he had. Well, I think it would have given Ricky a longer career and saved him a lot of pain.
I was going to actually say as well, Matty, was just when you mentioned that, and Don, the same referee, I don't know if you've seen Calzaghe against Hopkins, it was the same referee, and you compare and contrast that performance in the Mayweather-Hatton fight, and then watch what he did in the Calzaghe-Hopkins fight. It was totally two different refereeing performances.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you have to. I mean, like I said, is there not a governing body that sees what we are talking about, and then, pulling them up and say, "Hang on a sec, you can't do what you're doing." Surely, there is such a setup where these guys are being monitored. Surely.
Dead serious as a fan, Don. If you ever getting ready to go in a fight and he's seemed to be attached to WBA, I believe, just tried to make sure that Christodoulou does not ref or judge any of
exactly.
Derek's fights. I mean, that's just,
Yeah.
as a fan, I don't want to see him have to deal with that.
I make notes of we've experienced it firsthand when we were in Helsinki. The referee that was officiating that particular fight, there was
Terrible.
one of the points where Derek was really in a rhythm attacking Hellenius. What does the referee do? He breaks the fight up, stops it, tells Derek, don't hit him. I swear that's what he said to Derek. Derek pushed. Derek said, "What are you talking about?" I swear he said to Derek. He puts his fingers to Derek's face. He said, "Don't hit him." Right?
It's like Sven Otka, Robin Reed all over again.
Yeah, that referee and Andrio Zanoni. He actually reminded me a wee bit of Barivecchio, Massimo Barivecchio. He's another Italian referee who I don't like.
Yeah. There's quite a few characters in there, but like I said, I don't laugh about it, but really and truly, they're messing up the game. They're messing up it's not a game. They're messing up the sport, for the audience, for the fighters. I mean, that really hurt us that we went all the way to Helsinki and really Derek fought his heart out, and it would have meant so much for us to get back on that plane to England with that European belt. In fact, that happened 3 years ago.
Won the fight, Don. You won that fight.
We won the fight, but like I said, the scoring and the refereeing, it was really, really, really shocking. And but you know what? What I always said to Derek, where's Hellenius since then? He hasn't done absolutely nothing because that broke him up. That defeat to Hellenius, he knew he lost, right? He's never been the same man again, the same fighter again.
I agree. It's a situation of where Derek might have lost the battle, but he won the war.
Absolutely. And we've gone on to greater. And one thing I have to admire the Klitschko's for, Vitaly Klitschko. He said, I wanted to fight the winner of the fight between Derek Chisora and Robert Hellenius. He said, in my eyes, Derek Chisora won, so that's why I elected to fight him, because they were asking him, why are you not fighting the European champion? You're fighting the loser of the European title. He said, no, I said I'll fight the winner of that fight, and in my eyes, Derek Chisora won the fight, so that's why I elected to fight. So I have to take my hat off to Vitaly for that decision.
Hellenius last fought in March, Don. He fought Michael Sprott, and it was a turgid 10-round decision.
I remember. And listen, like I said, Derek broke the man's heart, and he's never been the same boxer since then, and probably never will, because I don't know what he's doing now. That's why whoever's protecting these guys, whether it's their promoters or their referees, and you're not doing let me give it to you in contract. Would it, if that decision was allowed to stand, Robert Hellenius came at the loser of that fight, Derek Chisora won his European title, who's to say it would have probably made Robert Hellenius a better fighter?
So let's just jump here, though. Let me ask you, so you have your stable of fighters is growing. You're getting a chance to work with so many different fighters, different styles, different strengths and weaknesses. Mm-hmm. Do you find this time of growth of your gym has made you grow a lot as a trainer?
Most definitely, because I'm a very passionate boxing man. I live, breathe, and eat and sleep boxing. It's, I never, for once, when I first started doing this job, that I would be in a position where people or fighters are coming from all different corners, asking me to train them. I mean, look, I'm honored. But I'm not a young man in the sense that how long can I carry on putting the amount of hours that I put into this job? But I also want to produce quality, nothing but quality. So I'm having to look at the way I do things at the moment, possibly shrink my operation again, remain small. It's something I'm looking at because I've outgrown what I anticipated. I've grown in terms of my workload. I need to produce quality, and to do so, can I have this amount of fighters and still produce quality? There's only one of me, although I've taken on assistants who are working under my umbrella, carrying out my methods. So I do like that side of things. That I've brought people into my operation to help out. And to, like I said, to work under my banner. That seems to be working really nicely. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
And Don, do you have any guys working underneath you that you think are going to become exceptional trainers in their own right?
Most definitely. One guy in particular, his name is Luke Portinier. In fact, his background is a Muay Thai fighter, but he understands boxing more than most boxing trainers or that I know. He's a proper boxing historian. He's a really connoisseur, and I monitored him for 3 years, and then I asked him to come on board to help out. And he's one for the future. This guy is so passionate, and he's only a young man. He's in his 30s, and I brought him along. Ian Dewberry is another. I don't like to say the word they work under me. They work by my side. We work side by side, and they're working under my umbrella, if I can use that expression. And they're all developing. They admire the way I do things. They admire my temperament, yeah, and the way my teaching, the way I teach. They like it, and we're working really, really nicely together, bringing these guys through.
Don,
Yeah.
Don, I've got a question from Kurt, who's actually ill at the minute, but he's asked this question. We're talking here obviously about the referees and how sometimes they can ruin a fight or ruin the sport in some way. I know you've got a wee bit of a vested interest here, but do you think, or I appreciate as well if you don't want to answer it, but do you think maybe this situation between Frank Warren and Matchroom is possibly even affecting the sport in their country as well?
Yeah, look, I always say it how it is. I think the sooner the both promoters stop fighting, the better for the sport.
Mm-hmm.
Fighters have got the free will to go where they want to go. But one thing also, this is going out to the fighters, yeah. There's something called loyalty, which a lot of fighters don't have. They don't understand the meaning of loyalty. Yeah, got very, very short memory fighters. Okay, and the fighters, I would say the causes of this feud between, as in Mr. Warren and Mr. Hearn. I think fighters should really look at loyalty. The man who started you off when you had nothing, he invested in you, brought you to the level where you are. Then somebody else waves a bit of checkbook in front of you, and then suddenly you think the grass is green, and then you absolutely no loyalty. You forget the beginnings, and then you just opt. Yeah, openly speaking, I'm sure some of the times is different for different reasons, but I'm just saying, in most cases, you find these monetary reasons, and but I really think it's not good for the sport that. I think everybody should work together. I know we're all in the same business, everybody's after the same goal, success. But I think we should. The pie is big enough for everybody to eat from. That's my opinion.
Just expanding on that, Don. I mean, you made a good comment there about everybody should work together. I mean, if you look at it in America, you've got the situation with Golden Boy and Top Rank. But if you go back further than that, if you remember, go back to maybe the 70s and the 80s. Don King and Bob Arum, they absolutely detested each other, but they still found a way to work together to put on the big fights.
Absolutely. I mean, look, like I said, I hope, because as you know, I'm a Warren man, because of my affiliation with Frank Warren. And, we started with Frank Warren, and he's done a great job for me personally, for any fighter that I've been involved with. And so I'm not want to sound biased, but he's done a great job for boxing in this country. Yeah, he's been in it for 30 odd years, and he knows what he's doing, and he's a master at tracking people to the top. And look, everybody should work together. Okay, fighters should have freedom of choice who they want to sign with. Yeah, but what I ask from the fighters Yeah, it's a bit of loyalty, whether it's to Eddie Hearn or whether it's to Frank Warren, a bit of loyalty. Always think of the beginning. How did you start? Yeah, how did you start? Yeah, and when before I make any decisions I make in my life, I always rewind my mind, my thoughts to the beginning. How did I start? Where did I start? How did it all start? Before I make any decisions. So that's I will leave it on that really without getting too involved.
And Don, here's a question about a UK fighter. Been something that's been discussed. What chance do you give Amir Khan should he be given the opportunity to fight Floyd Mayweather?
Every man that gets in that ring has a chance. Okay, I'm not a hypocrite. When we fought Vitaly Klitschko, Derek Chisora, people were ridiculing us. People said no chance. I said yes, we have got a chance. So I'm not going to suddenly say Amir Khan has no chance. Of course, he's got every chance. One thing I can tell you about Amir, in terms of his output, is one of the best in the world. The way he lets his hands go, is tremendous. And again, from a coach's perspective, what my observation, I'm going to give you the pluses and I'm going to give you the minuses. That's me. This is for Amir Khan. His chances they're high because Amir will be able to throw straight punches because he does that very well because he still has the amateur thing in him. Amir Khan, he fights in straight lines and he throws straight punches. Very, very good. Textbook, very textbook. And he lets a lot of punches go. He throws in batches. And I think these are all the things that will probably cause Floyd problems. But having said all that, Floyd Mayweather, like I said, is in terms of my personal all times, he comes in the top 3. Yeah, this man is a genius, a living genius, right? In the sense that he's able to make an exceptional fighter look ordinary, appear ordinary. Okay, it will take his last fight, for instance. Okay, Alvarez, at some points of that fight, was disillusioned, confused. Yeah, that's because the man in front of him, Mayweather, has this way of making people who are exceptional, and I think Sergio Alvarez is an exceptional fighter. He made him look lost, confused, and very ordinary. And I don't believe Amir Khan will be an exception. Yeah, regardless of how good I believe Amir Khan is, and I think he's very good, but I think again Floyd will find a way to nullify what his opponent does. He will use that speed, that hand speed, the punch combination, fighting in straight lines without angles. Again, Amir is not best known for his defense, and I think Floyd would exploit all those areas.
Don, I remember previously we spoke about the fight between Carl Froch and George Groves, and you felt that Groves would probably win the fight. With recent developments with the split from Adam Booth, do you still think that Groves has still got a chance in this fight?
Most definitely, most definitely. I mean, it's a pity that that Adam is if that's still the truth, I don't know. That Adam's not involved in terms of to be in that corner on that night for Grove. That's a big minus, a big minus. But Groves, I still believe, will prevail victorious from this fight for a lot of reasons. Again, from a coach's point of view, looking at it. He's a very improved fighter. It really is. Okay, George Groves. And Carl Froch, I think, is one tough cookie. It really is. Mentally, not just physically, mentally very, very tough. Okay. But I think he's too easy to hit. And that's what's going to be his undoing. He's too easy to hit. It doesn't attempt to block anything comes at him. It doesn't attempt it because he thinks he's really tough. Yeah. Well, let me tell you something. Derek Chisora, my own fighter, yeah, thought nobody could knock me out. And we saw what happened with David Haye. Yeah. Okay. And you really box. The art of boxing is to hit and not get hit. And should you get hit, minimize the amount of times you get hit. That's from when I first started boxing as a little kid. That's my teacher back then. That's what he introduced. And unfortunately for Froch, George Groves is a very accurate puncher, and his punching power has improved immensely through technique. Okay, and like I said, I'm very impressed with the improvement he has made over the years. And yes, it's a big minus without Adam being there for in between rounds, the tactics to be able to change if it's not going their way. That's where a good coach comes into play. An experienced good coach like Adam Booth would be able to say, right, it's not going this way. We need to turn this way. Would George Groves be able to adapt during the fight? That remains to be seen with his new team. It's all down to will George Groves and his new team be able to cope if the fight's not going their way? Will they be able to change during the fight? Like tactics, that is, to have a plan B. But who would win that fight? I still really strongly fancy George Groves. I really do. And I think Carl Froch is going to underestimate George Groves because he doesn't respect the kid at all. Yeah,
I just think that it could be the telling factor if Froch does land a heavy shot on him and how Groves reacts to it. I think this is going to be the telling factor. If Groves can take the shot and come back, I think this is going to be a hell of a fight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be very exciting, and I really do. From the minute the fight was announced till now, I still haven't changed my mind about it, about what the outcome will be.
Well, I mean, even if Froch loses, can you really feel that bad for him when he gets to go home to his wife? Such a gorgeous woman, but
you're high on her, man. Donna, I've got a question from Kurt here. He's actually asking about Nathan Cleverly and his move up to cruiserweight. Do you think it's going to be a good move for him? I mean, I've seen an interview with him today, and he says he was sacrificing muscle mass in order to make weight. He had to make sacrifices in his diet, etc. You think that it's the right move up to cruiserweight for Nathan now?
I think it's a genius move. Hello?
Yeah?
Yeah, we heard you, John. Yeah. Why do you think it's such a good move?
I think it's a genius move because I know Nathan Cleverly personally. He comes very frequent. He comes to London to stay with us and train with us. So, and I know he's got such a big frame. If you look at him closely, his shoulders, he's got the wing, very, very wide shoulders, that guy. And he's not short. He's a tall guy, quite tall. And all his career, he's always sparred with bigger guys. He's always sparred with heavyweights. Yeah, he's the only guy. Nathan Cleverly is the only boxer that spars with Derek regularly that I know that can pin Derek Chisora on his back foot and keep him there. Right? He's the only boxer that can do that has done that in my presence since I've been training Derek. Derek's a come forward fighter, but Nathan's the only guy who's able to pin him back on his back foot and keep him there for long periods. We had an American called Joe Hanks, heavyweight. He came to help us prepare for the Haye fight. Again, he sparred Nathan Cleverly in my gym when Joe Hanks was over here. Again, he's a heavyweight, and Nathan went toe-to-toe with this guy. Again, he won't let these guys push him back because they're heavyweights. No, I think he'll do really well as a cruiserweight. I really do. And like he said about his weight, he's had to make a lot of sacrifices to make the weight. But now, going up to cruiserweight, I think he'll carry it comfortably. And I think he'll really do well in that division. I really do.
Yeah, that Joe Hanks is quite a big guy. I have to remember. I think he's about 150 pounds or something like that.
Yeah, he's a big lad. And when I saw the 6 rounds they sparred, I wish I taped it. You would pay money to watch that 6 rounds they did in the gym. Like I said, I know what happened in that 6 rounds. I really do know. And Joe, when I went, really respecting Cleverly, said, "Wow, no wonder you're a champion," because the guy, listen, he got beaten on the night by a guy who had his numbers mentally and physically. Now he comes in the what we spoke about earlier on about these guys who are born with steel in their body. Okay, and unfortunately for Nathan, it'll only take a guy like that to beat Nathan, and he fought the wrong fight that night because the guy wanted center ring because Nathan's used to fighting from the center of the ring, controlling, putting people on their back foot. Yeah, the chap said no, I want center ring, and had Nathan boxed cleverly, cleverly, literally his name. Had he boxed cleverly and said, right, okay, my friend, you can have center ring for the first, let's say, 4 rounds. You can have center ring and use that magnificent jab of his on the retreat, yeah, and then eventually he will be able to capture the center ring and win the fight. I believe that's what should have happened and would have happened had he boxed cleverly, literally.
Were you impressed with how Kovalev throws so many punches, but they're compact and all of them seem to hurt?
Yeah, like I said, the name of the guy is Kovalov. Who's the other two other chaps we mentioned in different divisions? These guys, when they hit you, you remain hit. They've just got this steel in their hands. Like I said, they're throwbacks, these guys. They don't look like fantastic, do they? When you look at them, you don't look like a flash boxer, but they're very effective in what they do.
And it's going to be interesting. I really love that light heavyweight division too. There's so many great fights to be made there with good punchers. It's explosive.
Yeah, most definitely. It's an exciting division.
Well, Don, I know it's getting pretty late over there, so you probably might want to. I don't know if you're ready for bed there because you probably got an early day at the gym.
I've got an early day, but it's always a pleasure to talk. I love talking boxing, so to me, this is my wind down before I go to bed. So I'm fine. If you guys are fine, I'm fine.
Don, I actually got a text message from Emma. She says we weren't to let you talk for too long.
Yeah. Nah, I'm a man of my own. I can do what I want to do. So I live alone, so I can talk.
What are you excited about other than Derek's fight coming up? Is there something that's just standing out to you other than Chisora's fight and also the Froch Groves?
Worldwide. What fight am I really, really looking forward to seeing? I suppose the Tyson Fury and David Haye when it eventually happens, and I believe it will happen in February. Let me see now. Who else? What other fights do I like?
What do you think about the Manny Pacquiao Brandon Rios fight coming up?
That Pacquiao thing's really sort of been diluted, isn't it? It's not Pacquiao is not when it's mentioned anymore, it doesn't have the same effect it would have had, let's say, 2-3 years ago, So no, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna know about it, but I'm not really. I wouldn't stay up to watch it. Put it that way.
Here's a question for you, Don. Any fight in history that you would love to have trained?
Yeah.
Which one would it be?
Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali, yeah.
That just to have the chance to work with someone with that skill set, it would be a pretty amazing one.
Yeah, I mean those guys like people like Ali, and there's in history of boxing there's been people like that. They're blessed with those skills. You just have to, as a coach, don't touch it, and just put the things you as a coach, the technical aspects of being a coach, being able to spot them and put them in. Don't touch that talent, which is, I believe, what the great Angelo Dundee did. He didn't tamper with the natural gift of Muhammad Ali. He understood it, left it alone, and as a coach, technically be able to input the things he believed that would enhance or go with these Ali's skills without tampering with the natural skills that Muhammad possessed.
you consider Dundee your greatest influence as a trainer?
You talking about my personal
Yeah.
he's one of them. There's a few trainers that I look up to that when you through the history of boxing, I look at them. I think, right, this is how to be. This is how to do it. You take a leaf out of their book. They all had something good about them. So what I do, I look at what is this coach good at? What is that other coach good at? Then you take what's good from each and every one of them. The great Emmanuel Stewart, the late great Emmanuel Stewart. I've taken a leaf out of his book. I've had the pleasure of speaking to him a couple of times and learning. Learning. One of the best things I learned from the great late Emmanuel Stewart is that know your fighter's limitations, okay, and learn when to abort mission, okay. And I learned that from him. Example: we trained in Scotland, trained so hard. We're about to go and make and change history. We went to Mannheim in Germany, okay, and there was a public workout. Being inexperienced, myself and Derek Chisora, being inexperienced, we did a public workout for the first time. I've never done one in my life. I didn't know what to expect, and they chose for us to go first. I was hoping that the champion, Vladimir Klitschko, would go first with the great late Emmanuel Stewart, so I can learn and see, okay, this is what they've done, and this is what we're going to do. But no, when we got there, we were told that we're actually going to go first, so I didn't know what to do. I said to Derek, let's improvise. Let's do 2 minutes of pad work, and we're not going to let's not show too much. Let's just do, but whatever we did do was very explosive. Okay. Now, we got back to our hotel that very evening, got a phone call from our promoter, Frank Warren, saying, you will not believe this. They've supposed to have an injury, developed an injury. Okay. Now, I'm not going to go into too much details. What I've since learned is that Emmanuel Stewart pulled that fight. Not the fighter would have fought, but the coach saw what he saw and said, no, abort mission, because we're going to lose our title. We stand a chance of losing our. So I've learned that from him, that sometimes don't be so macho, yeah, and concede privately. I think that's a great asset to have the eye, to have seen what he saw at that public workout, to know this guy's going to be too much, too hungry. The start was all wrong for Vladimir, and he aborted mission. I think that's, like I said, as long as I live, and it hurt us at the time, but I admire and respect what a great coach. It's not just about holding the pads in the gym and training the fighter. There's other aspects of being what makes you a great coach, you know? So that's one of the things I've learned from, like I said, from the great late Emmanuel Stewart.
I've got a wee bit of light-hearted question here for you.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned quite a few times there about fighters with steel in their hands or in their bodies and stuff like that, like Kovalev and Golovkin. But you've obviously got a bit of steel in yourself. I mean, you took a right hand from David Haye. Seriously though, how hard does he hit? I mean, you've obviously tasted his power.
Well, it was a left hook, actually.
It's a left hook, sorry.
Yeah, it was a left. I know what side of my mouth is split and cut. It was a left hook, totally unaware. I was merely just separating him from Tank Eric, and he decided to take a shot at me. Yes, it hits hard, you know. I used to be a security man. I used to work on the doors many years ago, and I've been hit by bigger men. I've been hit by bigger men. So David Haye, yeah, it hits hard, but nothing I haven't felt before. Considering I was totally unaware of the shot, because it's the shock that knocks you down or out. Okay, it's the shock that knocks you. As soon as it struck me, I only thought of one thing, was retaliation. You know, going down, or yes, it was a hard shot, but I certainly wasn't going to go down from that mug. Because that's what he is a mug. He took a cheap shot at me. Yeah, it took a cheap shot at me. If I was fighting him, that's different. He swung at me for no reason, and I still hold it against him. I really do. You know, I really do hold it against him. It was a cheap shot. Cheap shot.
I don't blame you for holding it against him at all.
Mm.
It was there's been a lot of instances where Hay hasn't shown class. Do you think that's a problem with some fighters, is they feel a need to act out to try to promote a fight rather than letting their abilities in the ring do it for them?
That was not promotion. I can assure you that that was pure spare of the moment thing that happened in Germany. It was no prom. It was. I certainly didn't know anything about it, about being hit in the mouth and having 6 stitches in my mouth. So I had no. If Mr. Hay came there, yes, he came there to sell a fight. Certainly was not there to sell a fight between him and Derek Chisora. He purely came there to get a fight with Vitaly Klitschko, right? And he just saw the way things transpired. Him and Derek got involved in the tussle they got involved with. I certainly, like I said, Derek nor myself was a part. We didn't instigate anything. The man came into our room uninvitedly. Apparently, wasn't even supposed to be there. Yeah, he came there and started running his mouth off, and suddenly we're involved in a scuffle with him, and he's hitting. He hit Derek first. He hit Derek, and he hit me. Like I said, I do hold it against the guy, and I'm not usually a guy who holds grudges, but I do. And at no point has he ever apologized. Yeah, whether it's privately or publicly. Yeah, all he's done is run off to the newspaper saying that he broke Derek Chisora's coach's jaw. Yeah, it broke my jaw, and my mouth was all wired up, and I couldn't eat for 3 months or something. You know what, David? You're right on every account. You're right. You broke my jaw on every account. Yes, you did. You're so strong, my man. You're so strong. You know, be hearing from my lawyers anyway, so let's not worry about it.
Just on that, Don. I mean, in my own opinion, I think David Hay could probably go down in history as probably one of the greatest waste of talents, because he seems to be more interested in wanting to be a celebrity than rather being a fighter, in my opinion.
Well, I have no what's the name with problem with him wanting to be a celebrity, and absolutely that's I think is quite a genius in what him himself and Adam Booth have done. Yeah, remarkable what Adam Booth in particular. I think the man's such an intelligent, good businessman. He's been able to take someone, yeah, and I call him. It's not been disrespectful. It's the truth, yeah. David is a good-looking boy. We know that. He's got fantastic physique, like an Adonis. Yeah. Yes. All the makeup, the good looks, the physique. Yeah. And they've been able to take that and cleverly market it and cleverly engineer and cleverly talk themselves into positions. Yeah. And I have to give him credit. He has delivered at times when the fights that he has been in, well, they're not memorable fights, memorable maybe for the wrong reasons at times, as in he beat the giant, Valuev, or did he beat Valuev? If that fight could have been called a draw, nobody would have been argued, and the champion still would have kept his belt. Even if Valuev was declared the winner, nobody would have argued it. Yeah, so he walked away to secure a match with Vladimir Klitschko, who he was going to decapitate their heads. He was going to put them in wheelchairs. Okay, well, totally the opposite happened. And like I said, you could see why I'm hurting, I really never thought he would be able to beat my boy Derek, especially in the fashion that he beat Derek. Yeah, or Derek beat Derek, should I say, because Derek handed it to him on a plate. Yeah, he didn't respect him. He went charging in, guard down, swinging, and got caught. He ran onto the shot that knocked him down. He ran onto it. And I didn't believe David earned it to win in that fashion. But nevertheless, hopefully, that's another rematch down the road for Derek. Should Hay carry on boxing, even if Tyson Fury beats him, I hope he's a man enough to carry on boxing and not go into oblivion. I hope he carries on fighting because he's young enough. He keeps telling us how he's going to retire at the age of, was it 31 or 32?
31, yeah.
Yeah, so I hope when he takes his beating from Tyson that he like everybody does, you dust yourself like Derek Chisora has. Derek has dusted himself up and resurrected his own career after taking such losses. Yeah, I hope David Hayes got it in him after he gets a beating. Yeah, to not to cheat the general public, a hit and run merchant. That's what I call him. Should he retire, he'd be a hit and run merchant. because it doesn't want to get. Nobody wants to get found out. Nobody wants to lose. But those ones that I rate are people who are to lose and get up. You really find out about people's characters. Yeah, when they get down and get up, brush themselves up and come again, and not cheat the general public who pay money to see you. I hope David doesn't run away after Tyson Fury beats him. Or should they beat Tyson Fury? I hope he sticks around and don't run away and said, "Oh, I'm gonna retire now."
Yeah. Don, just briefly, your friend Danny Williams was fighting again there during the week after saying he was going to quit. Have you been able to get in touch with him recently?
Yeah, I've spoken to Danny, and I'm not going to reveal a lot of things that we said. Obviously, it's personal. Because I asked him why is carries on fighting and stuff. But listen, boxing is a disease, as we know. It's a lovely sport. It's a disease that one inherits. That these past greats, legends, everybody's done it, from Muhammad Ali, to going back in history, and it's a disease that once you're in it, it's hard to get it out of your system. It really is to get it out of your system. I think what should happen, I'm actually working on a pilot thing where to maybe alleviate this problem from ex-champions. I think they miss a lot from being in the limelight, being spoken about, being written about. Yeah. Where if there's a circuit where they can do exhibitions, you go on tours doing exhibitions, as in not just to come and talk to people and people asking you questions, to actually, it's not a competition as such, to promote boxing, also to do exhibitions where two guys get in. It's almost like a sparring session, but a light-hearted sparring session. Yeah, so they're still involved with boxing, because I think that's what they're missing. They're missing. Sorry?
Something like the Football Masters that you see on Sky, like you get like the old football players playing like kind of football, but the guys wear bigger gloves, for instance, and kind of spar each other.
Yeah, exactly. I think it'll be treated more like an exhibition sparring session, and still be promoted like a proper fight, where there is no winners as such. It's just for the public to come and so they still feel involved, and do it on a regular basis, all through the weights, not just heavyweights, all through the weights. And I think it's something I'm working on, a pilot I'm working on, and hopefully if I can get some sponsorship to back it, because it is sad where these people, like I said, my own personal friend, and Derek, I'm obviously preaching to him to invest well, so he never will have the need or to say, I still want to box on. Because also these guys, let's face it, it's not just because they still want to box. Let's face it, their bank account shrinks rapidly when they retire, and they feel that I've still got a name, I still can, pick up money here, there, and there. I think it's also financially related, the reason why they stick around. So it's sad. It's sad.
And Don, do you kind of feel that as a trainer, it's not only the responsibility of the trainer to make sure everything goes on well in the ring, but that the trainer also needs to provide some level of being a mentor to their fighters, that they owe them something outside of the sport as far as their life in that relationship?
Most definitely. Yeah, most definitely. On a daily basis, I preach to Derek. I preach to him. Yeah, I won't mention names. I own a gym, a boxing gym, and I have ex champions, well-known champions who work out of my gym. Yeah, and it's such a sad thing that these guys have gone all their lives, trained all their lives. Some of them earn millions, and yet again they're in my gym picking up like £50 an hour client because they depend on that to pay their bills. It's sad. And I always said to Derek, you don't want to end up like that. You need to invest your money wisely. So come when you hang your gloves up. It's such a short career, boxing, any sport, in fact, be it tennis, football, motor racing. It's a very short career. So give your best, do your best you can during the years that you're active, because you're long retired, as they say. You're long retired, so invest wisely, so you don't have to be a guy who you have to now, after doing all what you've done, all that hard work, then you go and spend it all, yeah, and then end up back in the gym where you're trying to pick up £50 clients. It's sad. So I do mentor him and all my not just Derek, all my other up and coming boxers to invest wisely. This money is hard earned money. Invest it so you don't ever have to do what they call a comeback because of the money. You want to make a comeback. Put your all you can in the next few years that you're active, and maximize what you earn and invest it wisely. All you can do is tell people, and but I think Derek, I'll speak because of my experience with Derek. Derek Chisora is actually very, very good with his finances. So I pray to God that he is listening. He appears to be listening and doing what he should be doing. And he's got great team around him. Apart from myself, he's got his mother, who's very, very really grounds him a lot. He's got his father-in-law also, who's helps him to look after his earnings. So I believe he'll be okay.
That's good to hear. We always like having the good endings as well, because there are so many sad endings to boxing careers anymore. But Don, hate to end it, but Andy and Kurt got to get to bed. Particularly Andy, he's got a 1-year-old. Before we go, Don, we would just like to extend our condolences out to you. We know, you lost Dean Powell, and you recently lost your mother as well, and everyone, speaks so highly of you. They've loved our interviews with you, and have really enjoyed you and the wisdom that you push with the sport. But so a lot of love heading your way, Don. We know it's been rough, but you're a tough guy, and we know you're pulling through.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate the support. It's just life. God gives and God takes. For whatever reason, and I'm a firm believer in that. So, it's a very bad few weeks. Last 8 weeks has been really, really tough, rough. My good friend, stroke brother, Dean Powell, who literally the guy educated me a lot in boxing when I first came into it. He freely gave me free information, guided me, the do's and the don'ts. And suddenly he left us, and I feel so empty, so lonely at times, as in the person to call, to confide in, to tell him my boxing problems, and he always solves them for me. I feel really lost, without him around, I miss him a lot, man. Yeah, so, but hey, his family, my heart goes out to them as well, and obviously, like you mentioned, my mother, my dear mother.
Well, and we send our love to you there, but you're incredible. You came from Africa and you built this boxing gym. To have a guy that's challenged for a world title will certainly get another shot. She had to have been a very proud woman.
Although my mother didn't really know what I did for a living.
No kidding.
I swear it, because she's not interested. Don't forget, being of African background, they bring you up to be either a doctor or a lawyer. Nothing else is adequate. Yeah, we have I have two brothers and two sisters. I'm the eldest. I'm the one who's supposed to have gone on to become a lawyer or a doctor, and I did neither of those things. So nothing else really would amount up to if what I do for a living, my profession, totally cannot be spoken of around the house.
No kidding.
No kidding. That's the truth. Yeah, it's an African thing, man. It's an African thing.
Well, that makes it even more incredible because you sought it out yourself. You found it through strange circumstances.
Yeah. It's purely, it's just like I said, it's not really highly regarded where in my home, as in Africa. My son's I've got a son, a 21-year-old son. He's very proud of me, of what I've done, and he admires my work ethic and my honesty and my approach, how I treat people and the fighters, and he's learned from me. He's quite academic. He wants to fight. I told him to do the amateur thing and then see how it goes. So he's targeting Rio 2016 to see what he can do. That's what we're targeting, you know.
Very cool.
Mm.
Well, we wish your son the best of luck on that journey, and hopefully before the fight, maybe we can set up a time to talk to Derek as well. We'd love to get with him and hear his thoughts coming in. We know he's not the most talkative guy sometimes, but we'd love to get the chance.
No, I think I promised last time I will, when you guys interview me next time, even if he stays for like 10 minutes of the duration, because he certainly won't talk as extensive as I do. Definitely not. He will. I'll bring him to perhaps sit in for like 10, 15 minutes of the duration.
No, it'd still be nice because we love talking to you. We love that relationship. And Don, best of luck coming up with in the upcoming fight. We hope Derek performs well and it sets him up for bigger and better things.
Sure. Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Take care of yourself, Don.
Take care of yourself as well. Take care.
Thanks, Don.
Bye-bye.
See you, mate.
Yeah. God bless. Okay. Bye.